welcome to episode 177 of the Campus Comics Cast, where the three of us combined do not equate to Braniac 3, let alone Braniac 5. My name is Scott Reed, and I'm joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Shad Schubert.
And this, of course, is the first episode of February 2024, so it is, of course, a Next Phase pre-orders episode, and I really don't have any hot takes, so I think we're just going to jump straight into the catalog. Is that all right with you guys?
Sounds good.
Well, sure.
Okay, good deal. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and my first thing's on page 4 as I scramble to find what tab I have my Next Phase catalog in. There it is. So we have on page 4 from Ahoy a new series called Deadweights. Now, I'm sure this is going to be a limited series, though it does not say that it's a limited series. But the premise is, what about all the henchmen that work for all the supervillains? What do they do when the villains become tired of being villains and the heroes aren't that heroic? And what's their life like? So I assume this is going to be like a 5-issue series.
There'll be at least 6, because at the bottom it says featuring the first of 6 mugshot incentive covers by Richard Pace.
Ah, okay.
So I'm sure after all of the Project Cryptid actually going to an ongoing, they're like, let's not go ahead and make this limited. They're just going to say, we got at least 6 issues in the bag.
Yeah. Or they could one issue double up on the mugshots.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
So, but you're probably right, though. I am going to concede that you are probably correct that it is going to be a 6-issue series. So, written by Tyrone Finch, art by Sebastian Perez. I'm butchering the name. So there you go.
Yeah, I had that marked as well.
Okay.
I like the idea of a villain that's tired of being a villain. Doesn't really turn good. Just, this is too much work. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm tired of getting beat up. So I just have a feeling that would be pretty good. And it's in the world of, I guess it's in the same universe as some of the other products or productions in Ahoy, but
I don't think so. They don't imply that it's that it's part of like.
Oh, it even asks. It says, "Is this another exciting new superhero universe?" No, it's just a buddy comedy. Okay, so maybe it's not connected to anything, but it looks like a lot of fun and in the spirit of the Wrong Earth.
Wrong Earth,
You know.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why it couldn't be in the Wrong Earth down the road later on if they decided they wanted to include it. So
that's right.
All right. I don't have anything until we get to DC. So
I'll mention Wrong Earth Dead Ringers #2, since we're talking about titles with the word dead in them. And this is the 2nd issue. One of my goals these next couple weeks where I'm laid up, I'm going to be catching up on all my back stock, and I'm going to read my entire run of Ahoy's Wrong Earth series, all the spinoffs, everything. So I'm ready and raring to go. So this has just kind of got me fired up, seeing this, knowing that I'm going to get to it probably tomorrow. I'll be starting.
I'm on 25 as my next one.
25. Like I said, I'm not until DC. So if it's
Gotcha.
before DC, then it's good. You're good.
This is from CEX. It's a collected edition of a book called Sereno, the Night Watchman. I don't remember this coming out individually, though I guess CEX has not really been on our radar as much. Pre-lunar Next Phase catalog is kind of like, it's right in our face now. But the artwork kind of drew me into this one. There's some preview pages, but it's a collected edition of issues 1 through 3 of this book called Sereno, along with a Pride special that they did. And I don't actually, there's nothing about the premise in this 2 sentences that's like, ooh, I must read it, but the artwork just is really cool. It's very like either washed out white or full on black with just splashes of color. Line work looks cool. Something that I might want to track down that issue 1 of that now that I see this and kind of dip my toe in that series.
What page are you on, Chad?
That was on 25.
Okay, so the only other thing I had before DC in this catalog was it's under AWA. It's Rumpus Room. It's coming out in the collected edition, collecting issues 1 through 5. I've been holding off on buying any single issues, but I tell you what, these Tony Harris covers are a joy to look at every month, and I think I need to own this trade. It's just I can't remember what the premise is, but it's the guy's got this like some special skin cream, some magic skin cream, and if it's written by Mark Russell, there's going to be some sort of social political angle to it.
DC.
DC.
I did not have anything on my list in DC actually, though they put Superman on the cover for this House of Braniac storyline, and they don't even have enough faith in the storyline for it to be the first page item. You have to go how many pages into the DC catalog before you get like even to the first crossover for that particular House of it's page 12 in the DC catalog.
Yeah.
So, which is page 47 in the main catalog. So it's just like I don't guess they have a whole lot of faith in Superman as a character. I guess he's not selling books. You don't hear about, him being a top seller or anything like that. But it just kind of surprises me that they didn't feature that, more quickly or more prominently in the book. Instead, they've got just more Batman, more more Zur, as the first page of the DC catalog. So
well, they've watered down the whole Superman family with so many characters, so many members of the family that it's hard to get excited about stuff with it. I was getting both Superman and Action Comics. I actually was getting Action up until this month. I'm not going to order it just because it's this crossover, and I'm not going to buy that extra issue, the House of Braniac special, to complete that story. So I'm just not going to get any of them. But it's I don't know. It's not like they don't have decent writers and artists on it, but
no,
it's not working.
And then I just thought of this, and I probably should have researched this before I bring this up. But okay, so Batman ended for 2 months when they had that whole Night Terrors thing, right? Okay. Well, I was in the DC app and I was reading Batman, and it's like the one issue came up, and it was like 141. So I went backwards to find. I think I've skipped, because like the last one I read I thought was like 137 or something, maybe 138. I think they're counting Night Terrors as like 139 and 140, even though. I should verify that. I just didn't know if either of you had noticed that or anything at all. So I was just curious.
Well, I'm gonna look at my CLZ and see what that.
Oh, that's a good idea. I was going to comicspriceguide.com right now to look it up. So
because that's if they're doing that, that's even worse than the whole legacy numbering. You got they bring up what's the issue that's coming? Oh, Nightwing number 300 supposedly. I'm like 300, and it's really like 111 of this run.
This run, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, they even do it with Nightwing. It's just so false.
Well, that's the thing. There is just like usually we get those issue counts after the fact.
Yeah.
But like now on this one, it's really they just decided to, hey, right here we're just gonna go ahead and make this, these 2 issues, and so we can get 2 more issues in our account for Batman and get us closer to whatever the next number is that they that they want to have. So
exactly.
I'm looking. Let's see here. You guys go ahead with DC. I'll try to see if I can figure this out. So what's going on here?
I got page 39 or 4, depending on what you're on.
I'm at page 37.
Okay.
37 on the big book. So I just wanted to mention they announced a DC major event for 2024, Free Comic Book Day special edition. It's to be announced. It's a blank cover, but the promo says it's a story. It's a prelude to a story 30 years in the making. So when you count back in time, that goes back to 1994. And 1994 for me means one thing. And I know, Shad, you probably won't guess this, but Scott, what was the big event in DC in 1994?
1994?
Yeah.
let's see, that's post-Crisis, so that would almost have to be like, oh, I mean that's before Final Crisis, right?
Oh yeah, that was like
Okay.
an 09.
Okay, and then see, I mean that's you get all the what the hyper times and the
Yeah.
all
Well,
those
it's got to do with time.
invasions.
It's 0 hour.
0 hour.
So that was like the first real big crossover, big event that DC had after Crisis. They had a couple of small ones like Armageddon and Invasion, I think, but 0 hour is supposed to sort of course correct a bunch of the problems that Crisis on Infinite Earths caused, and it didn't really to much extent, but in fact it caused some more problems for characters like Hawkman. But anyway, I might be wrong, but when they're talking about this is a story 30 years in the making, it just feels like they're gonna shake it up and rehash some of the old big events like they have been with Crisis and do something with 0 hour. Would be my guess. So go ahead, Chad. I think I'm up not till 44 now.
Okay, on page 39, just mentioning since we had reviewed the first or the prelude for Gotham Nocturne, we are now entering Act 3, presumably the final act of Ram V's take on Detective Comics with Detective Comics 1084. So I haven't kept up past the prelude, but at some point I intend to, and so
he's a good writer, but it feels like we're about 6 years into his arc.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it's taken forever.
Yeah.
Well,
it's really pulling it.
That Ram V storyline to me, and I think I've talked about this before. It's if you're a Batman fan, it's a good story arc. It's not going to make you leave the book, but it's also not going to be like, oh, I've got to go read this story. Yeah. And I'm actually reading the detective stuff before I'm reading the Batman stuff, the Chip Zdarsky stuff. I'm actually enjoying the detective stuff more than I'm enjoying the Chip Zdarsky Batman stuff. So like whenever they pop up, if I had a choice between the two, I'm going to detective and then catch up Batman later on. And just to answer the question, it looks like that Night Terrors was not part of those two issues. I'm seeing 136, 137.
Okay.
138, 139. So it must have just been an issue with the DC app, not putting me to the right issues, and
that makes sense.
They
do things out of order sometimes.
Yeah,
they're a little weird.
Well, we're reading Sweet Tooth for an upcoming, and it's like I went back to read Sweet Tooth a second time, and it took me from like issue 1. When I clicked next, it took me to like the volume 2 omnibus for like, which starts at like issue 10, and I'm like,
yeah.
What happened to 2?
What is the logic behind this?
Yeah, so I guess it took me to the next thing I hadn't already read. But it's like that's not what I want. If I go from 1, I'm probably going to read 2 next.
43 is my next one.
Apps are so annoying. So
yeah,
I'll go ahead and talk about what we just talked about was the Nightwing Legacy number 300. Earlier in the catalog, they brag about you can't miss this big event. Nightwing is hitting 300, and I'm thinking, wow, that is something. I don't remember him being at that high in the run, but of course it's Legacy. He's actually at issue 113, still written by Tom Taylor, and still it has that those great covers by Bruno Redondo. So I wish I could get around to maybe reading some of it. He's one of those characters that he's a mainstay in the DC universe. Dick Grayson is, and I'm glad they put him under some good talent whenever he's got his own book going. And
I got on the next page.
I was gonna say I don't have anything in DC, so I'm scrolling to see if something jumps out at me the second time through.
43. We don't normally talk about anything Harley Quinn. I used to read Harley Quinn a lot, and then I didn't in the rebirth of it all. But this Harley Quinn 2024 annual, I only am mentioning because this Erica Henderson, who I don't know at all whatsoever, but she's pulling double duty on this book. I really love this cover and just the choice of art style that isn't what screams Harley Quinn normally. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll pick this one up. And it's a maritime murder mystery. So just a one and done if you're looking for a Harley Quinn story that doesn't have a bunch of history to it.
So
Yeah,
if you dig that, then Erica Henderson also had a run on Squirrel Girl.
Oh, okay.
So Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. So if you really like that, which I've not read it. But I knew the name. So
Yeah.
if you really like it, then you want to probably back up to Marvel and look for
Okay.
Squirrel Girl. So
I'll have to do that.
the art style kind of reminds me of whoever, I forget the name of the person that does. You remember that title, Sweet Paprika?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Maria and I can't think of her name now,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean,
And Dolfo or
yeah, Andolfo. Yeah, sounds right. I was looking at Birds of Prey #8. Again, I've been reading this, but I'm about 4 issues behind. And what is catching my eye on this issue #8 is that one of the characters that I think, discussed when this title was first solicited, we discussed why Vixen wasn't on the team. It just seemed like she would be a natural. And lo and behold, Mary McCabe has joined the Birds of Prey. So that's a good sign. That's all. Oh no, I got one more in DC in page 58.
I got 67.
All right, 58. This is just me. I guess it doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to. But I have been buying these Shazam issues because of Mark Waid and Mark Waid only. I'm not really a big fan of the Shazam, the modern take on Shazam with the big family and everything. But if Waid was writing, I was definitely picking it up. But Josie Campbell has picked up, it says right here, new creative team with Josie Campbell and artist Emanuela Lupacino. So I can't remember what Josie Campbell's done before, but nothing that has really made me say, you know what, I have to continue getting this. I'm being a little bit more selective with my with my choices of comics based on some of the writing. And that's it.
And on 67 for me is from the DC Vault, the Sandman #19 remastered. I'd mention this because I have to. It's in my contract. But this is randomly we're choosing the one of the Midsummer Night's Dream issue of Sandman is being recolored by Steve Oliff and is getting a new cover by Charles Vess. So good talent going into it for a remaster. It's kind of odd that we're just picking up at 19. I get that it's a one shot.
That's almost the reason why, because it's a one and done. So
yeah,
they don't have to do an entire storyline. They can just do a one part story. So,
and I hope that they're at least going to do the other Shakespeare issue, because that would kind of be silly to not at least have those two kind of collected together in a way. But otherwise, it would be cool if you want something like that on your shelf. I'm not a big remaster guy myself. I'm okay with the original, so yeah. I probably won't pick it
up. Before we leave DC, are either of you reading Tom King Wonder Woman?
No. Yes, I just got caught up on it yesterday.
Okay, how is it?
It's good.
Is it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll have to start reading it because I think I'm only reading like 3 books from DC right now, and one of them's a miniseries, so I probably will want to pick up something else. So
yeah, I'm digging it. I was had about 5 issues, 5 or 6, that I could get caught up on, and I read them all in one sitting. So,
well, I thought they just solicited 8. Is that what?
Well, maybe it was just 5. Yeah, so I got 5, at least 5. Yeah.
Let's see here, because it's something about the Sovereign, which I think is a fairly new.
That's a new villain.
Yeah. Or not necessarily a villain. Are they a villain? I thought they were like a group. Because there was there was like those, the City Kid or City Boy or.
Oh yeah.
And
the Vigil.
Yeah, the Vigil. I thought the Sovereign was part of those.
Oh, I don't know.
Those books. Okay, I don't know. I'm kind of talking out of my behind right now. So.
Yeah.
But I may not be remembering that correctly. All right. Anything else, DC?
Nope.
Okay. What's next? I'm not till 138 in Image.
A
So
161 in Image.
wow. Okay. So Mike, you got anything before
140
138?
148.
Okay. Well then, let me scroll down to 138. So we got Drawing Blood. This is a new 12-issue series, partly written and partly drawn by Kevin Eastman of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fame, and it almost from the premise seems like it's somewhat autobiographical. The concept of a sub 20-year-old guy who suddenly has a whole bunch of money.
Right.
So I'm not saying that the crime and killing part is what Kevin Eastman did once he hit that status, but I can see the idea of like, you create a global franchise before you turn 20. Now what? So there you go. So
Kind of a spoof on his own life, probably.
maybe,
I guess, in a
yeah.
way.
So I get the way that Turtles was a spoof on Daredevil. Then this
exactly.
is Kevin Eastman doing a spoof on Kevin Eastman. So
Yeah.
then 146 is my next thing.
Yeah, I think it's you then.
Okay, so were you 146 too, Mike? Or?
I'm 148.
48. Okay, so Geiger is getting a second volume. This is going to be under the Ghost Machine imprint that's underneath Image. Still Jeff Johns and Gary Frank doing the creative work on the book. I never read the first one. I think I read the first issue, and not a lot happens in the first issue. It's just, kind of setting up the world, and never really came back to it. But it's now up to a second volume, and who knows? They got the Ghost Machine stuff going on, I guess.
It seems as though they're calling the old stuff the Unnamed is maybe the storyline, because if you see in the bottom corner, there's a little logo that says the Unnamed, and it says, "Don't miss the vital action-packed chapter in the shared universe of the Unnamed saga and the momentous Ghost Machine rollout." And it's in the corner of all the other ones too. So they got too many names for things. It's Ghost Machine, it's Geiger, it's the Unnamed.
Yeah, I don't know if the Unnamed is a universe. Geiger's is a character.
Okay.
I know. Yes. But I'm talking about Redcoat #1, which is the first issue of a new comic by Johns and Brian. Well, the cover is by Brian Hitch. I don't know if the interiors are. It looks like maybe they are. But it's based in the times of the Revolutionary War, which shouldn't be too surprising with the name Redcoat. And it seems like there's some clandestine activities and spying and things like that, and anything that has a little bit of history to it I enjoy. So I definitely am going to pick this one up out of that whole batch. And now that you mentioned that, I had the first volume of Geiger. I think I might get the second one, or get the start that second one.
If we're going to talk about all of the Ghost Machine books, the Rook Exodus, the other one, the character design looks really cool on that guy. I have no interest in reading the book necessarily, but that's the next one on page 150.
Yeah.
Well, you might as well, you talked about the other two. Might as well talk about that one as well.
Right. This one's written by Jeff Johns and art by Jason Fabok, who did the
I always said
three
Fabok, but I don't know if that's correct either. Yeah.
But yeah, the character design on that guy looks pretty darn cool.
I mean, it just screams post-apocalyptic, without even reading.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. It just that's what it screams.
It does the job immediately.
Yes. 152. We haven't really talked about Spawn too much, but we have a new title, Rat City #1, and it looks like they are giving Spawn the Batman Beyond treatment.
That's a fair way to say it, absolutely.
Yeah, so we've kind of got different Spawn in the future. So, and there's, it's in the same universe that Al Simmons once lived in. So I guess if you want to get your Batman Beyond and your Spawn, then pick up Rat City #1.
161.
That's me too. You go ahead though, unless Mike got something before 161.
No.
This is the second Universal monster that we're attacking an Image. And this is The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, number 1 out of 4. Going to be written by Ram V and Dan Waters with art by Matthew Roberts and Dave Stewart. It looks really, the cover image looks cool. The interiors look cool. I am excited that the Dracula wasn't kind of a one and done. I saw Dracula 1 on shelves and I almost picked it up because I didn't get it originally. I was like, I'll wait for the collected. I'll kind of read that collected, and I'll do the same probably with this creature book, but seems like they're doing a really good job with it, at least from what I can tell.
Okay, the irony of the writer being last name Waters. And then, of course, this is, of the Universal Monsters, I think The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Gilman is my favorite. So I may give this one a shot.
All right. Is Gilman his name?
That's what I've always heard it referred to as Gilman. So
I like that it's like Gilman, like Howard Gilman is his actual name.
Well, it's double L, Gill, and then let's just see if I search for Gilman. No, I get Gilman Automotive Group. So
I like it though.
So it's Gil-Man. So Wikipedia, Gil-Man, and that makes it official.
Okay.
Commonly called the creature. The Gilman. Okay. Commonly called the creature.
Because Wikipedia is always properly referenced.
That's right. True. There are never mistakes. 181 is my next thing.
235 for me.
Same for me.
Okay, which one? 235 or 180?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mike, 181. We have The Cull Volume 1. Now, this is the book that you had mentioned that you had read the last time we did a What We've Been, or maybe the time before we did a What We've Been Reading. So The Cull, is this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You said it's really, really good?
It really, really is.
Okay, then I may really, really pick this up and read this. So.
And I actually did have it written down and I missed it here, but it was, I am going to get that because I liked the individual issues so much. I'm going to get that first volume. But yeah, it's worth getting. Okay. And if you don't like it, don't blame me. But I've
never blamed you for anything in
never
life.
Once. And even if you do blame me, you'll be sure not to say it on live podcast world.
Mention it that anybody else could hear it. So 195, we have the final issue of Antarctica. I picked up the first issue, haven't read it, and I got to decide if I want to visit or not. I mainly bought it just in case, something happened with it. But now that the storyline is wrapped up with the 10th issue, we'll get some, trades or omnibus, and I may have to, give it a shot, see if it's worth picking up the remaining issues. So Antarctica wrapping up for anybody who was following that. 222, is it still me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Star Signs is also wrapping up. Again, I had the first issue, not picked up any after the first issue. One or both of you guys were reading this for a while, though, correct?
I still am. Too. Yep.
Okay, yeah. And how is it?
It's good. I want the artwork to not be as basic as it is, but I love the story. It definitely feels like the tamed down version of Wicked and Divine, which came out a few years back. It's definitely a little bit more kid friendly, or probably not kids, but
I would say it's listed as mature 18 plus. So
yeah, it doesn't feel as out there as that, and that's who's that? Who did that? That's McKelvey, and doesn't matter. But it just feels like the light version
Fraction,
of that all around. No, not Fraction.
No.
Did Wicked and Divine?
The team who did Young Avengers and Photograph and
was Kieran Gillen part of that?
Yes,
I said Gillen, but I thought it was also
Gillen and McKelvey.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
That was the team on that. So this just feels like the light version of that, which I'm all for it because I loved Wicked and Divine. So give me something that's kind of in the same kind of realm, but now we're dealing with star signs instead of with old gods and stuff. So I'm digging it. I look forward to the issues when they come out. I'm glad that it's a mini series though, that it's not an ongoing like Wicked and Divine was.
Because I don't think it has issue 9. So.
Yeah, I don't think it has the legs to stand much past that. But yeah.
Right, I'm at 284 is my next thing. So
235, aren't you, Shed?
Yep. You got that too, right?
Yeah, but go ahead.
I don't know much about Dick Tracy. I only know that when I was a small child,
You saying you don't know Dick?
I this is true. Is that the movie played all the time at the like TV store? Like when I was a kid, it was like on the loop. So like I would sit and watch parts of Dick Tracy the movie, though I don't think I've ever seen the whole movie. But I figured
it's I don't think I haven't watched it since it came out back in the 90s, but what I remember is having a Treasury edition of Dick Tracy. Of course, I've read some of the newspaper strips and stuff, and I always thought it was like any kid that's seen, the radial watch and that you could communicate with, not knowing that 40, 50 years in the future we would have Apple Watches or whatever, and you can communicate and do everything with them as well. But
yes.
I just like this more serious take on him. It's Alex Segura, who's a good writer. And I don't know the artist Geraldo Borges, and I mean the covers look great. It just looks very noir. Which has that contrast with his yellow raincoat, type thing. So I am very interested in this just to see how it comes across. So I don't know if it's an ongoing or limited or not.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Okay.
And it's from Mad Cave.
Mad Cave, yeah.
Mad Cave. And, of course, former podcast host Dan Brown, I think, is a pretty big Dick Tracy fan.
Yes, he is.
So
that's right.
If he's listening, then he'll have to be sure to pick that up. And I actually had that was mine, too, 234. I just typed 284 instead of 234 into mine. So my next thing is 251, which I'm also assuming that Shad is going to have 251.
I do. 243 before that, still in Mad Cave, is Nottingham 11, which is the start of the Final Crusade. They're wrapping up. It's going to be a 15 issue, is officially announced, and this is the last volume of that. So we covered the first volume in one of Mike's shows, one of the Roadshow episodes, and so it was enjoyable, and I need to catch up and read volume 2 before this starts. And then 251, it's Robo Force number 1, which I don't know Robo Force, but I know that it's part of this thing. The next month I'll be more excited because it's Biker Mice from Mars. But this is part of that Nelloverse. Is that what it was called?
I say Nacelleverse, but I have no idea. It's Nacellevere. So it's like, do we pronounce that E Nacelleverse, or is it just Nacelleverse, or Acella? Maybe it's Nacella, like accelerate. So Nacelleverse.
I think the N is silent and it's Acelleverse.
Acelleverse. Okay. I think all the letters are silent and it's just
verse.
Just
that blank. Okay.
I really feel like they should have led in with something else besides RoboForce, because I don't know who knows Robo.
Yeah, I don't know, right?
Because wasn't GoBot's part of this too?
I don't know.
No,
I
didn't. No. Power Lords and Biker
Mhm.
Mice and RoboForce and was it Inhumanoids or was it something like Inhumanoids?
Okay.
Hey, that was Power Lords. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know who the overall big pull is going to be for this. Like, who's really excited for it, and is it going to be able to maintain anything past a 4-issue arc, and then they're all going to die off, unfortunately, because I just don't. They've got a big bundle of toys that nobody cares about anymore, is what I'm thinking, or a very small group of people will care about.
Exactly. Well, my thinking is that, like, okay, obviously, like, from this time frame, Transformers, He-Man, those are the big boys, right?
Yes.
You had the much smaller thing like GoBots, and GoBots could not last very long. I figured these have even less legs than what GoBots had. So.
Yes. Let's see. So it's RoboForce, Spectars, the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, which I would absolutely pick up that as well. The Great Garloo, I don't know that. Power Lords, I don't know, and then Biker Mice from Mars. The two that are the humanoid versions of animals, I'm all for. Those are things that I remember Anything past that, yeah, I'm not really sure. So yeah, and I might be, I might be the one that hits two of those, and then there may be a slightly different group of people that hits another two, and maybe they do have something good going on.
Maybe they're hoping if you like one, you'll pick them all up. So
that's true. I won't though.
No. I am done with next phase.
Okay.
I don't know about everybody else.
I've got two more.
Okay.
On 292, I don't know if you're anywhere.
Yeah, I'm done too. So.
You're done as well. Okay. 292. I'm flipping fastly too. Is the Everything Sucks Noah's Millions one shot. So Everything Sucks is this series of one shot books. They are a stoner comedy with 90s nostalgia. And I picked up like the first three of these and enjoyed them for what they are. So if you are into 90s stoner comedies, but with like a bird and a cat instead of humans, I recommend it highly. They usually come with like stickers and like temporary tattoos or something. So they're a goofy little book, and I enjoyed the ones I had, and so thought I'd mention that. And then from Vault Comics, on page 294 is a book called Something Crawled Out. This is the first issue, and really I just liked the line work. The artwork was really good, and so that's what really caught my eye. It's about a Eddie who has no grand plans or prospects, spends her days sleeping in and her nights working night shifts at a gas station. And it's a horror book that kind of leads from there. So I don't know if I'll pick this one up, but I am a big fan of this art by Mad Cursed. It's just a one namer.
I seen that, yeah.
And written by Sun M. These are interesting names. And that's all I've got in this book.
People have too much time in their hands to come up with names like that.
That's probably. I wonder if that's like their tagline, like on their when they were, like, and they just
he's
rolled
mad
with
cursed.
It.
Yeah,
mad cursed.
All right, Marvel
book.
Okay, I gotta say this because there's not a single one of these variants pictured anywhere in the book. And a couple of months ago, they did this too, and I 100% missed it. So what happened was I got through the Marvel catalog, and it's like, man, when is the next volume of ROM coming out, or when is the next volume of Micronauts coming out? So I went back and I did a search. So I did a search for ROM, nothing. Like, okay. Did a search for Micronauts. There was like 5 hits on Micronaut. I'm like, what? Well, there are 5 books this month that have Micronauts variant covers. Oh. Deadpool 1, Avengers 13, X-Men 33, Amazing Spider-Man 48, and Venom 32. Now, those all are excellent tie-ins to Micronauts. That's my sarcastic voice, which is the same as my regular voice, so I understand nobody can tell the difference. But it's like, they did this again with ROM a couple of months ago, and I stumbled onto those just on a fluke. I found somebody on eBay who was like selling all like 5 or 6 of them. I didn't pull the trigger on buying them. I can't decide if I want these or not, but there's that, Marvel ROM completist, Marvel Micronauts completist in me that wants to order them. And then there's the other part of me that's like, they're just the covers. I really could live without them. So I've got to make that decision pretty soon. Am I getting these variant covers or not? And I guess if they're 1-for-1s, I can just purchase them for regular price, then I probably will get them. But if they're 1-in-10s and I got to pay extra, no, I'm not even gonna mess with it. So, but for the Micronauts fans out there, Deadpool 1, Avengers 13, X-Men 33, Amazing Spider-Man 48, Venom 32, and no next volumes for Omnibus for ROM or Micronauts yet. Okay. Page 2 for me. We have Blood Hunt, which is the next event from Marvel. I don't know if the previous event is ended yet, but we're already starting into the next event. And I'm 100% getting event fatigue from Marvel. That is for sure. But this is a 5-issue series. Jed MacKay, Pepe Larraz art and cover. Basically, the sun goes into hiding and the vampires come out. So you have the Marvel, Marvel vampires. I guess there was a DC story not too terribly long ago with that Tynion did. It was like with all the DC vampires came out. I can't remember what that was, but it's not quite like Final Night where the sun goes cold, but it kind of has that feel. So you got this dark world, and what happens to Marvel when the world goes dark? Well, the vampires come out, and of course Blade will be involved. So there you go. That's the big event for Marvel for the next few months. And then I don't have anything else till 56.
I got 43.
Wow, you guys don't have a lot either, huh?
Nope.
Well, I did, but I can't get the catalog to pull up. I had it all pulled up, and I guess it went away, so it's not in memory anymore, and it's taking forever.
Oh, no.
So it's not that important.
Okay. Is anybody reading Immortal Thor? Even tried it?
No, that was one I was going to look. I was going to talk about it because I'm thinking about going back and getting the first couple trades.
Oh, okay.
I think I had the first issue on my Marvel app for some reason. So I have downloaded it and was also ready to dip my toe into it as well.
Okay. Well, I'll have to give it a shot then. I'm sure I'm just scared because I feel like it's going to be Immortal Thor where it may start really good and I'll get really excited about it and then it will just collapse at the end. So, okay, I got to talk about this on page 43 just because of the cover.
That was exactly what I flagged on it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder.
I know it's fine. It's the Wolverine 48, which is a Stretch Armstrong variant, essentially.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was the only reason I had flagged it. I don't have any skin in the game on the story. It was just like, this cover is ridiculous, and I love it.
Does it actually say Stretch Armstrong variant?
Nope, not at all.
Okay,
That's what I called it.
Yeah. There was also a green monster that was like in this Stretch Armstrong's enemy or whatever, and I had both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I left them on a top shelf that the sun came through the window and melted them. So
nice.
I'm still 56, I guess.
I am on page 70.
Okay, so it's me then, I guess. Let me they have a facsimile for the Taylor Swift cover facsimile for for X-Men 130, not actually a Taylor Swift variant. But if you want to buy into the hype, then you might pick that one up. But on 56, Captain America #8, I'm going to basically repeat myself what I said for Detective Comics. So if you are a Captain America fan, I've read the first 2 or 3 issues of the J. Michael Straczynski Captain America run. And it's one of those where it's good. It's not, mind blowing, but it's decent story. So it's like if you were a Captain America fan, you won't leave the book because of this, but it's not necessarily going to draw in a lot of readers because it's not, again, super exciting. But honestly, there are very few really good Captain America stories. So this is as good as we've had in quite a while. So
yeah.
Which is a shame because that is, my favorite character. So
yeah.
And then I'm actually done with Marvel. But
I had one thing that I finally got the catalog pulled up, and I'm on the page I want. It's page 106, Avengers Epic Collection, the Evil Reborn trade paperback, and it collects. It's volume 11 in that Epic run, but it collects a lot of that George Perez art. In the Avengers run, going from like 185 to 209, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think I've even bought quite a few of those issues from you, Scott. But I think this might be the one volume of the Avengers that I'd like to pick up the big one. Yeah. So it's because it's $50 and it'd be worthwhile, I think, to have it.
Yeah. This picks up right after I started reading comics. So my first book was Avengers 184. Or 183. Now that I say it out loud, 180. I got it hanging on my wall. 184. It was 184, which was the second part of an Absorbing Man story. So yeah, this is right after. So I remember these stories very vividly. So
yeah,
190. Oh gosh, issue 190. or 196 is where you get some Gene Colan art. I think this is the first time I saw
Yeah.
Gene Colan art was during this
Yeah.
time period. So
Yeah.
there's some good stuff there. And that annual 10 that's reprinted, that's the first appearance of Rogue. And that's an awesome story. I love that story.
Okay.
And Michael Golden art is so good.
I got to meet him at Heroes Con. Did you talk to him?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I got to meet him at Wizard World a few years ago. Got a sketch. Got my picture with him. It's pretty cool.
He charged me extra because of the book I had him sign.
Oh,
and
really?
I couldn't figure out why. It was just a Batman special that he was known for drawing, and it was a one-off book issue, written by I think Mike W. Barr and art by him. And anyway, I just was kind of like, wow. Yeah, because he goes like, well, in that case, I'm going to charge you $30. I'm like, okay.
Did he really charge you $30?
He did. At that point, I couldn't back out. I guess I could have, because I did get out of the line of Jim Steranko, who was charging like $85 for signatures, and when I found that out, I'm like, no, see you later.
Well, I did worse at Steranko. I bought a pre-made sketch of Nick Fury.
Oh no!
Yeah, that tiny thing like this big. But I didn't figure I was going to be someplace where I could, find something. I wanted Captain America, but they were about twice the price of Nick Fury, so I went.
He was very well known for Nick Fury, though. That's a good one.
Oh no, it was a good pick. So, did you watch Steranko sign any books? Did you watch him sign?
No, it was a long line. I was in awe of he was very debonair, very well-dressed man. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So at least, I don't know if he still does this or not, but every person that would he would take the book and he would put it down in front of himself, and he would stop and he would look at it for just a second to decide where he was going to put his signature on it, So it's like there was always a pause, and it would be blah, 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 blah. So it's just like it was really, really cool. So. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that, but it was.
It is cool to see the routine of some of these guys and gals.
And he didn't want you to take his picture.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm an ask permission type of person to get a picture. Like, can I get a picture? He's like, no, let's just remember this time. So, well, I remember that though. So
yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
I do remember it.
Remember that he refused.
Yeah, I remember that he refused. Let me take his picture. So, or get a picture together anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else in Marvel for either of you guys?
I got on page 70, Star Wars Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red, issue 1. Of course, they're doing a Black, White, and Red of Darth Maul. That just makes all of the business sense in the world. Though we did talk about this when we were talking about what we've been reading, that I have feel like I've been burned too many times with Star Wars miniseries, and if I was going to
mention that, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I'll call myself out, absolutely. Okay. So I don't think I'm going to, but at the same time, I do like the spotlights on different creators that they do on these Black, White, and Red. So who knows? To be determined.
Maybe not.
That's right.
All right, ready for pull box?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess first up is what? Boom. Anybody got any boom?
I got a boom, but it's not a book.
Okay.
So I've been reading House of Slaughter and Something is Killing the Children. That's all for an upcoming recording on the road show. And I'm pretty impressed with it. Just a little preview there, but there is a T-shirt advertised in the boom section, not in the merchandise section, that has that SIKTC, the initials for Something is Killing the Children, which is kind of a cool, it's like almost sounds like a onomatopoeia, like like just like something stabbing or slicing an arm off or something. But so yeah, I don't know that I would get it, but it caught my eye, and I bet there's a lot of people that do pick this shirt up.
Well, for once, I'm glad you didn't ask me to be part of that one, because I was not impressed with Something is Killing the Children. Yeah. So I felt it was pretty bland. So
yeah,
I still haven't read it.
It's
Okay, well, you can be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest horror guy, and you have to read it.
In Boom, I've got on it's page 50 of the big book, but it's Uncanny Valley #1. This is a 6-issue mini written by Tony Fleeks, who we know from Stray Dogs, and Dave Watcher, who I guess is doing the art on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I bet that's Wachter.
Wachter? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Dave Wachter.
Okay. He's in Punisher as well, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about a boy who his kind of gets caught in this kind of Who Framed Roger Rabbit style thing. It references by way of Something Epic. I haven't read Something Epic, but it's definitely just epic storyline of this kid on an adventure going through all these different art styles. Really is kind of the big thing, different worlds. So that's kind of the draw to it. I have gotten burned on these kind of stories. I feel like where I get excited about, oh, look at all the different art styles and how neat it is, and it kind of the story suffers for that. It seems like I'm curious if this will be in the same way, because I do like Tony Fleeks' writing. So I'm up in the air about Uncanny Valley at the moment.
They're not really bad. They're just drawn that way.
That's right. And then my other Boom thing. my other Boom thing is there's a Labyrinth archive edition where they're gonna do a reprint of
the Marvel book,
the Marvel 3-issue, the Marvel book coming out of Boom. Well, I guess through Archaea. Archaea. How do you say that?
I think Archaea is correct. So.
Archaea is right. Okay. So this is a reprint of that. I have read this when it was through the originals of this. I dig the Labyrinth. I don't think I'll probably pick this up since I have already experienced it. But if you are a big Labyrinth fan, we've got some archive editions. And it looks like they're going to do all 3 of them, which is I'm glad they're not just doing like issue 1 reprints, because that would be annoying on a 3-issue run of something.
You'd have to go back and track down the originals.
That's right. Yes.
Just be too much work.
Absolutely.
Also from Boom, we got Blow Away, which I keep wanting to say Blown Away, but it's Blow Away, I guess, for like a reference to like snow blowing away. But anyway, it's it looks like it's a murder mystery. So we have a photographer who witnesses what may or may not be a murder, and it's a 5-issue series, that's going to deal with noir crime, murder, paranoia in the tradition of Fargo and Rear Window. So
there's a Tyler Boss variant of that, which I love. Tyler Boss, he's the one who does the artwork for Something's Killed, or not Something's Killing Children. What's the Furthest Place from Here? That cover looks awesome. I dig it.
All right, let's see. Dark Horse Comics are in the other section. Anything you want to bring back up for DC or Marvel that you might have skipped?
Nope.
All right, so Dynamite. What do we got for Dynamite?
I got one in Dynamite.
Okay. I do too.
Go for it.
It's the only thing I'm getting in Dynamite. Well, I never get much in Dynamite, but it's written by Bill Willingham, Fire and Ice. It's a sword and sorcery story that I don't know if it's based on any.
It's based on an animated series that was around the same time as the Heavy Metal cartoon. So it was late 70s, early 80s. Called.
All right, I feel like we had that conversation. I didn't know of it firsthand, but it seems like I've heard you talk about it. So I've been getting it.
Solicited, we talked about it. So
yeah, and the art's always good. And Willingham can craft a story still. It's he's done with DC, I think, forever and ever. So I might as well pick him up somewhere else.
And then my Dynamite pick is obviously there's a new Disney book. It's Hercules #1, which I loved the Hercules animated movie and animated series. So the fact that they're continuing some Hercules tales looks like they're kind of play with the Odyssey a little bit in this one, and kind of mix it into how Hercules could play into that. So I'll pick this up for sure. And my number of Dynamite Disney books is I'm being a little bit more picky about what I'm ordering moving forward. Just because, Some of them have been good. Some of them have been just mediocre. None of them have been bad though. But Hercules.
You know what you get when you don't get
absolutely.
what you want?
You get what you need.
You get the experience.
Okay.
It's always an experience.
I thought we were setting up a song here.
No, I've just got a neighbor that likes to give little sayings. He's so prolific at them. We call them Kennyisms because his name's Kenny.
Nice.
Yeah, he's always saying something like that.
All right. I think we're down to the rest of the book. So I'd say just round robin until we run out of things to talk about. So, Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, and it won't take me long. I just have one.
Okay.
It's the Alter Ego's 25th anniversary at Tomorrow's. So it's issue 188, and the cover features the Avengers facing off against the Squadron Supreme. So that's what caught my eye. I am a sort of I know this happened. I sort of really fall for characters when I first read them, and then I don't know if I ever will get back to them. But having read the full 12-issue series written by Mark Grunwald recently, and I'll agree with.
That was a slog.
I know.
Gosh.
I remember you saying that. At times it was, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was typical 80s fare, but I just liked some of these characters, Whizzer and Dr. Spectrum and
because you
Hyperion.
like the Justice League.
Well, exactly, yeah.
So there you go. It's just the Justice League.
Yeah, they're the Justice League of the intended to be, and then they expanded to a whole lot of other characters that really weren't analogs of the Justice League at all. So, but anyway, that's not even what all the articles in this double-sized issue is being featured. It's just a lot of different stuff, interviewing people like John Buscema, Marie Severin, Jim Mooney, George Tuska, people like that. So I'll pick it up as usual.
Shad?
I want to talk briefly about a book from Zenescope called Pooh versus Bambi.
I see
public domain. Public domain.
I love. Yes, I love that things are in the public domain because they're ridiculous. I'm never gonna pick this book up, but the fact that there is a Pooh versus Bambi 3-issue mini coming from Zenescope is probably one of the best things in the catalog this month. With the tagline, "Pooh is on a mission, and no amount of honey will sate his thirst. He wants revenge."
Well, there was
ridiculous.
a Winnie the Pooh horror movie recently.
Yes, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, and did you see it?
I have not yet. It's been on my to-watch list.
Okay, is
it the Grinch has also entered public domain, and there's a movie called The Mean One, which is where he goes back and murders all of the Who's in Whoville. I have watched that. It's not great. And they have now announced the new Mickey Mouse slasher film.
Okay, so Steamboat Willie. It'll have to be Steamboat Willie, right? Because it's very limited. There's like Steamboat Willie and one other cartoon that entered the public domain. So that's the one that I think they're really taking a risk with, because I think Disney will go after it in some shape, form, or fashion. What do you? So
yeah, it's called Mickey's Mousetrap.
Okay, so I'm asking for your predictions. They haven't. I don't think they've gotten in a whole lot of trouble for the Pooh stuff, because like, who's going after protecting Pooh? Really nobody. Right. But I think it's gonna be different for Mickey Mouse. So I'm just curious, what do you think they're gonna get? Do you think they're gonna get cease and desist and sued for this?
This movie's coming out in March. I think it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Okay.
And there's a video game that's also like kind of in a Cuphead kind of animation style. But as a Mickey horror movie, if I remember, or Mickey horror game as well.
Why are they always horror? That's the thing that kind of,
That's the thing they've wanted to do forever. Like,
okay.
Well, because it's probably the furthest away from the source material, right? So like, that's probably where they can get into parody a little bit more, so they're probably covered by a little bit of everything there. I don't think they're gonna get in trouble, because then the entire copyright system has to be rethought if they actually side with Disney in this.
Yeah, of course, they've already extended copyright for how long?
Exactly.
Post, until like Sonny Bono was no longer the representative in Florida. All
What you
right.
got?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm gonna throw this one out here just so I say something about the rest of the book. We've got a number 1 from Oni Press, A Kogan Brutalizer of Gods. So it's in the tradition of Conan the Barbarian, and the best-selling God of War franchise, but it's a mythological, comic book, I guess. So I am not familiar with either of the creators, and I am not going to attempt to say their names. But he is one man reckoning that stands in defiance of his divine masters with a sword in hand and a thirst for god blood. His name, Akogan the Brutalizer. There you go. Mike,
right.
back to you. Of course, he's still muted, so he can't talk
It
about
took me a while to
comic.
get back to the
Yeah.
screen that would let me unmute. It wasn't like I didn't know. I just took me a minute. I don't have anything else. I
I'm
only have
surprised you're not going to talk about Comic Book Implosion from Tomorrow's.
Oh, I have it already. So.
Oh, okay. So this is
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's expanded though. So
yeah.
All right. I thought I'd set one up for you, but you didn't.
I didn't see it in this catalog. I looked at everything online for previews. So it after about 3 hours of it, I was going blind.
Well, I'm still scrolling through trying to find some stuff. All right, Shad, what do you got?
I've got 2 more things, and I'll wrap mine up. One is a book called Kent State, 4 Dead in Ohio, the graphic novel, and this is by Durf Backdurf, who I have followed for years. Most commonly, he is known for the book My Friend Dahmer, which is his telling of when he went to school with Jeffrey Dahmer. They went in high school together and befriended each other for a little bit before Dahmer got a little bit more of who Dahmer was. Mm-hmm. But also did a book called Trash that I really enjoyed. There's a book called Punk Rock and Trailer Parks that I've really enjoyed. And this is another kind of more autobiographical book about his interactions with the military that went up against the Kent State protesters from the Vietnam protests. That when he was 10 years old, he had seen all the military kind of rolling into town to go do whatever they did, with the protesters. So I have enjoyed all of his stuff, whether it's the more fictional stuff or the more autobiographical stuff. It's got a really kind of rough artwork style that I enjoy. And, I've got a soft spot for somebody who pulls double duty. So he's been a person that I've enjoyed. And then the last book that I've got is a book called Star Wars Dad Jokes, the best, worst jokes and puns from a galaxy far, far away. I'm absolutely picking this up for my father for Father's Day, and because he's a big Star Wars fan like I am, and that is all I have.
Okay, well, I've pulled up a few things. There are a couple of Elric of Melniboné books in the catalog. First is from Titan Comics. This is a Michael Moorcock library making of a sorcerer. So it's with story, of course, him being the original writer, Michael Moorcock. I don't think he is still alive, but I could be mistaken. And it's apparently has Walt Simonson artwork. I actually just finished the second volume of this on Audible, so it's kind of fresh on my mind. And to go with that, there is also the Moorcock Library Elric hardcover. This is offered again, but it is Roy Thomas and Jan Durisma. This is some reprints of some. Oh, I can't remember if they were Pacific or one of the other publishers from that time period that did these. And so these should be reprints, but they are put together also by Titan. Blip Map from Titan. That's the third thing. I'm just going to be in Titan for a little bit. This was the basically the NFT cover is the only way that I can describe it. where each
Right.
cover is supposed to be unique and they're all sealed, so you can't really tell what you're getting until you open it up. I've been ordering I don't know why, I've been ordering 4 of each. So
Did you read any yet?
I have not read one yet, so I'm scared to open them. It's okay, do I open them? And I don't know. I need to find somebody who's opened some so I can see what the covers actually look like.
Right.
So I have not ordered any of them yet, but it is on its final issue. We have I just pulled this one up because it was a #1 issue. I'm going to scan this, make sure there's not something crazy here. Okay, so Vigia #1. This is from Band of Bards. So it says Vigia relaunch. So maybe this isn't a new title, but it's a 3-issue series. Gazala, an alien science officer, and her AI companion Adi crash on a peculiar world. So sci-fi fans. And the Rebel Moon House of Blood Axe. This is the prequel to the Rebel Moon series, Zack Snyder on Netflix. I mentioned this primarily because I finally got around to watching the first part. The second part's not due out until April, I believe.
Okay.
It did not blow me away. I think my expectations were a little too high just because of the fact that it's Zack Snyder, and pretty much most of what he's done short of Sucker Punch is just I thought is awesome. So this one didn't.
You didn't like Sucker Punch?
It was just kind of blah, and I probably
love Sucker Punch.
It's probably more because of the source material for me than the actual, because I anytime I've tried to like manga/anime, it's just not gone well. So I just haven't cared too much for it. So I think it's probably more reflection of the material than the actual movie itself. So
fair enough.
And I guess if the two of you don't have anything else, I will stop scrolling because I'm just now into the D's, and there's quite a ways left to go for me to get through everything. So, Mike, is there a particular book out of any of these that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Dick Tracy by Mad Cave Studios. Okay. Probably more than anything.
All right. Shad, what about you? Anything that you're particularly looking forward to?
Yeah, I think the Hercules #1 is probably the one that as soon as it comes in, I'll probably read that and check that one out.
I'm going to go with the Universal Monsters book this month, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Again, that's my favorite of those Universal Monsters films. Yeah, films Gilman. So Ram V doing the writing. We'll see if
Gilman.
Harvey Gilman.
Esquire.
I think this is gonna determine whether or not I think Ram V is a good writer or not. You guys were much bigger on the Layla Starr series than I was, and Detective has just been good but not great. So let's just see if he can hit a home run with this. If he doesn't, then I'm probably done with Ram V, and if he knocks it out of the park, then he'll be, then okay, maybe he is good and deserves some extra credit there. So
he's probably losing sleep wondering how you're going.
I know. I'm sure all of the creators are listen to each of these episodes with bated breath, hoping they get a good positive plug. The three of us, me especially, but no, probably not. All right. Anybody want to risk an investment pick for this month?
Oh, I
actually had one. Yeah, but go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
It's Wolverine #48. No, I really don't.
Oh,
okay.
That's the Stretch Armstrong cover. For anybody at home,
the Stretch Armstrong cover. That's not a Stretch Armstrong cover.
That's right.
I have It was one I couldn't get pulled up earlier, but it's Deadpool #1. This new series that's got a new villain named Death Grip announced.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a miss.
Do you expect anything less from me? It said new villain, so I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
I just don't see anything in here that I think is going to be of particular value. None of the #1s really jumped out at me. I was just flipping through the image ones again, and they all seem pretty standard fare. So I guess if I were going to pick one up, Um, it would be Deadweight's number one, just for the fact I could see with the not the Marvel movies explicitly or specifically, but the superhero movies have gotten a little stale. So I could see them coming out with something that really makes fun of how the superhero movies have gotten a little stale, and this could be a book that they could use to tell. It's like, hey, all this stuff happens, and then we got these two underlings, that are just going to tell their story of, from the perspective of I assume, slightly humorous. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Deadweight's number one. It's got a chance. Not a big chance.
I hope you're right, because I'm picking it up too.
All right. So, Shad, what do we got coming up for episode 178?
I do have a non.
That's right. I do. Yeah.
A non-previewsy whatever we call this thing to talk about. There are 6 days left as of recording this. The Kickstarter for the 30th anniversary of the Disney Gargoyles collection is finally coming into existence. So we've talked about, just bringing up things that maybe don't fall under the big companies and their publishing, and this was one of them, which ironically is one of the big companies. It's Dynamite is doing this Kickstarter. But it is collecting there's 3 volumes, and they're in 4 different ways that you can buy these. And you can buy them individually, you can buy all 3 of them in a set, you can get them hardcover, softcover, signed, deluxe. The deluxe ones look really pretty, but they're also very expensive. And these are going to be covering the first volume is the Marvel Comics run, which is from the 1995 1 through 11. Volume 2 is the Amaze Inc. SLG run from 2006, which was a 12-issue run. And then Volume 3 is going to be the Amaze Inc. SLG 1 through 6 run of the Gargoyles Bad Guys comics from 2007. I have already pledged for the hardcovers, all 3 of those. Not the signed editions, just the regular hardcovers. Super pumped for this. I have wanted these books for such a long time, and the fact that they're actually putting these out was like, all right, cool. I went through and I deleted all of them out of my wish list on my comic shop and whatever. I don't have to search for them anymore or think, ooh, am I really gonna pay $100 for issue 1 and in a really bad condition, because that's cheap for the issue 1. It's gonna pass because they're almost hitting the $600,000 goal, and they only needed 50 to move it forward. So it looks like they're gonna ship in June.
Just for the record, I've had issue 1 of the Gargoyle series from Marvel on my shelf at conventions for like $15-$20 forever now. So just FYI.
No, you have not.
I most certainly have.
And they were just
really
reprinted.
Yeah, and plus they were just reprinted. So
Dynamite
reprinted them as well. So
yes, they did. Yeah.
It was a little. It wasn't. It's got a lot of spine. It's got a lot of spine ticks. But
I gotcha.
It's all there. But anyway, yeah.
Nice.
So
nice. But to have all this together is amazing.
For $500.
Yeah.
Gonna pass on that one. Holy smokes! The treasure chest, $1,500.
Yeah. I was like, that gets a real pricey. It's good looking stuff for sure, but I'll stick to my hardcovers. I was like, I don't even know if I want the hardcovers, but I was like, I do want those on the shelf, absolutely.
Wow, each of the hardcovers signed is like individually $500. That's a little
no
steep. I keep scrolling. I scrolled past just the price of the hardcovers. So all 3 trades for $95.
Yeah,
and I still haven't seen the hardcovers. So
I think it was at $120 is what I backed on that, and then
they already $125. All 3 Gargoyles hardcovers $125. So
yeah, they hit a stretch goal where they've got the Gargoyles Quest #1. They've got a variant cover that's coming, so now I'm getting that with everything because it's just I don't even think it's you don't have to pay extra for it. It's just coming with it.
With it, yeah. So say they met the goal. I'm surprised they're not throwing in some of the Dynamite stuff in the 4th volume just to get one more option here. So
Right. Oh, I bet that if this all goes through and is successful, then you'll see a volume 4 being because it's still on, it's still
It's still
running. 12
running,
hasn't
yeah.
come out yet, so I bet that they'll run a volume 4 that looks the same and feels the same kind of a thing. Is this I don't know that I've seen Dynamite or one of the bigger companies run a Kickstarter like this. Is this uncommon from what you guys know?
It is becoming more common because what is
Okay.
happening is, and I really don't like this. Dynamite with their work um, with Diamond and they have an outlet for this stuff.
Yeah.
I guess they're just they're trading Diamond for Kickstarter. I feel like this is a lot more expensive because it's on Kickstarter as opposed to if it were just being solicited through Diamond.
Yeah.
The advantage to them, the reason why they're doing this, is because now they know how many they're going to print before.
Right.
They'll do a little overage, so they have some more, to sell. But even like, when you look at some of the optional add-ons to this, they got those Ken Haser color gargoyle sketch covers. Those are in the
Mhm.
dynamic forces section of the previews catalog all the
Okay.
time. So he always does those quick sketch things. So this is
Mhm.
just as if what you would have gotten in Diamond. So I don't know if this is their answer to Diamond kind of being close to folding up, and because they're not listed up at the top on Diamond's page anymore. It's just Boom, and then it's DC before Dynamite, and Marvel are both listed before them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's becoming more common. You see this a lot, especially like with games. A lot of game publishers they go to Kickstarter even for established games. Um, yeah, because they have a better count on how many they need to,
That makes sense.
print as opposed to having to guess and then be stuck with stuff. Plus, they get the money in advance.
Yeah.
So they get the money to pay for the printing before they send it to print, not have to put the money out and then hope they sell them. So
Right. Especially with reprints like this, I would imagine it
yeah.
makes a lot of sense to see, is there enough interest to actually print this out.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping, as a 90s comic Disney fan, that if they've got the license for this, that we see this with a few more of the series that came out during that time that they seem to be dabbling with. One of them being like the Darkwing Duck series that they've done, the
Mhm.
Chip and Dale series.
Right.
There's a few of those that there's some hard to get books that I have been like, well, I'll wait and see what happens, and this might be the wait and see what happens that I've been looking for.
So you said you had a couple of things outside of.
Yeah, there was another one. It was just a new publisher that is inked a deal with Diamond. Is Grungnir, Gungnir, and it was just an article that I had. A new publisher that's coming out. They've got a couple of books they're launching with. One of them being a book called Mutant Cats, which is a Rick and Morty meets Aqua Teen Hunger Force type book. And then they'll have a book called Hero Quest, HIROQUIE. No, QUEST. Why can't I spell things? I don't know. Which is just so they just another publisher that's popping up that's actually signing with Diamond, which is interesting. That they're still getting some of the new people, which makes sense, but makes me wonder where they make the decision to Lunar or Diamond, and that I don't know.
I just did a search for a comic book on Kickstarter, and I'm surprised at the number of not safe for work results that you get when you search for comic book on
Heck yeah.
Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stop scrolling.
All right, now I can talk about what's coming up on 178.
There we go. Now we can talk about that.
178, we're going to be covering the first volume of Sweet Tooth, as well as doing some more of what we've been reading.
Sounds good. Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where would they do that at?
It would be Mike Atchison5 on X and m.atchison90 at gmail.com.
Did I mention the email address podcast@bergcomics.com before we did this?
No, you didn't, but
okay, there I did. I just did.
Okay.
Now it's happened.
Now it's happened. All right. Shad, what about you?
You can check me out on Facebook at Shad Schubert. That's SHAAD and check out things that I think we've got some shows coming up for the Shad and Thomas music project side of things. So check us out there.
I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, BURG Comics, with links to my social media pages and eBay store. And we'll be back soon with another episode.
You running out of energy, Mike?
I'm in pain. I can't sit the same place.
Oh.
It's just I need to get my leg up. I'm not a complainer until someone asks. So
That's right.
you just open the door. I've been trying to keep
Thanks, Chad.
I kept my mouth closed when we were recording.
According to the latest report from falsifiedstats.com, there are currently 12 million active comic book podcasts clogging up the internet superhighway, and 2.3 million new comic book podcasts are being created every single day. That's a lot to choose from, and yeah, it can get a bit overwhelming, especially since most of them all sound the same. You know, it's usually 1 to 5 guys, and they're sitting around, and they're just talking about their top picks from all the new issues that hit the shelves that week. If you're looking for something a little different, then let me tell you about Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow. Mike travels the globe and visits comic shops along the way, talking to the owners, the managers, or really just whomever happens to be minding the store that day. And it's through these conversations that you'll meet some wonderful people and learn how comic shops are run in places like Murfreesboro, Illinois, Pearl City, Hawaii, and Liverpool, New South Wales, Australia. But even more, Mike takes a comic book recommendation from each shop, he reads the comic, and then he gets together with a special guest or guests to discuss the comic in question. So do yourself a favor and check out Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow, a truly unique comic book podcast among billions of the same old, same old. Find it now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Comic books in my hands, man. The smell of back of shoe pages, man. Comic shops, I've seen my share, man. I've been everywhere.
I'm Mike, and I approve this message.